presidential speech concerning America's longest war leads off today's news on CNN 10. I'm Carl Azus. Thank you for making us part of your day. U.S. President Donald Trump made a primetime address last night. It was his first one of those since the address he gave to a joint session of Congress in February. The focus, his administration's strategy concerning U.S. military involvement in Afghanistan. The war there began in 2001 under U.S. President George W. Bush. At that time, Afghanistan was controlled by a militant group called the Taliban. They refused a U.S. demand to hand over the terrorists responsible for the September 11th attacks against America. So an international coalition, a group of countries led by the U.S., launched attacks on Taliban and terrorist targets. The conflict continued into the presidency of Barack Obama. He initially promised a temporary surge, an increase in the number of U.S. troops there, as well as an end to the war by 2014. But 2 years after that, at the end of Mr. Obama's presidency, more than 8,000 American troops were still there, and the Taliban remained a powerful force in the South Asian country. Like his predecessor, Donald Trump initially criticized U.S. involvement in Afghanistan as expensive, and leading up to his presidential run, Mr. Trump said it wasn't in America's national interest. But after becoming president and discussing Afghanistan with his military advisors, Mr. Trump said that he took over a mess and was going to make it, quote, a lot less messy. He used his address last night to explain his strategy for how to do that.
A core pillar of our new strategy is a shift from a time-based approach to one based on conditions. I've said it many times, how counterproductive it is for the United States to announce in advance the dates we intend to begin or end military options. We will not talk about numbers of troops or our plans for further military activities. Conditions on the ground, not arbitrary timetables, will guide our strategy from now on. America's enemies must never know our plans or believe they can wait us out. I will not say when we are going to attack, but attack we will.
10-second trivia. Which of these ships was lost in the Pacific Ocean? RMS Titanic, Queen Anne's Revenge, USS Indianapolis, or RMS Lusitania? All of these ships sank in the Atlantic except for the USS Indianapolis. A modern U.S. warship was involved in an incident Monday in the Pacific. The USS John S. McCain accidentally collided with an oil tanker east of Singapore. The tanker had some damage to its bow, but no one on board was hurt and there was no oil leak. But on the McCain, there was significant damage to the ship's hull. There was flooding in some of its compartments, and 10 American sailors were missing after the collision. Now, the U.S. Navy is facing questions about its readiness. This is the fourth Pacific accident that a U.S. ship's been involved in this year. Yesterday, the Navy ordered an unusual one-day pause in its operations, while officials look at leadership, training, procedures, and equipment on American ships in the region. The Navy, like the rest of the U.S. military, has been grappling with budget cuts in recent years. A Navy spokesman says America has enough ships and aircraft available to cover all current missions despite the recent accidents. From sea to sky, the sun and moon put on a spectacular show across America yesterday, shrouding daylight in the spectacle of a satellite's surreal shadow. Millions saw it, but if you didn't, you will not have to wait another 99 years for the next transcontinental total solar eclipse. The next one is only 7 years away in 2024. It's scheduled to start in Mexico and stretch across the central and northeastern U.S. before passing over eastern Canada. Scientists expect that one to last longer, too, for those directly in its path. If you're the sort to support traveling to the stars, though, there's a growing challenge in getting spacecraft into orbit and beyond. We're talking trash.
The more we rocket into the heavens,
3, 2, 1, liftoff.
the more junk and debris we leave behind, making it more dangerous for our spaceships and our satellites to move around. The good news? We can clean it up. In the heart of Tokyo, just a few miles away from this park, on a quiet street, one company is trying to make space a little safer by making it a little cleaner. Imagine space for a second. It looks something like this, right? Not quite. According to space whizzes like this guy, hi Tim, this is more like it. A world surrounded by broken satellites, old rockets and spaceship fragments, and, well, just junk.
You wouldn't believe there are thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of space debris up there.
Over 170 million pieces, according to some estimates. Some are big, others small. Most are really small.
The small one is like a paint flecks.
But don't let size fool you. In space, the smallest thing can have a catastrophic impact. Those flecks move at an average of 40,000 kilometers an hour, and when they hit with the force of a hand grenade. Imagine that times 170 million. Naoko Yamazaki, Japan's second female astronaut, has seen the impact of this stuff firsthand.
If the space debris size is bigger than 1 centimeter,
Less than a dime.
it will go through the structure, so it is a risk.
That means dime-sized debris could destroy a spaceship. But junk isn't just a problem for astronauts. It impacts everyone on Earth too. Intelligence gathering, electric grids. Just look at the GPS on your phone. That's why Mickey wants to make space clean again.
それをもうどんどん宇宙をきれいにしていかないと我々の生活が脅威となっている存在なんです。
Step 1. Map the mess. Agencies like NASA track the big trash. But right now, no one's really looking out for the small pieces.
地球から観測ができなくて、どこにどれぐらいのサイズのデブリがあるのかっていうのが分かってない。
While Satellite 1 maps the small stuff, Satellite 2, nicknamed ELSA-D, will sweep up the big stuff.
今考えているのは磁石。
Really? Just magnets? Mickey's team will launch the satellite as close to the selected piece of junk as possible. Special cameras and sensors will get even closer, and magnets will do the rest. Then it'll be all programmed to come back to Earth where it will burn up on re-entry. If all goes according to plan, Astroscale will send the first demo sweeper up in 2019. And from there, companies can hire their own ELSA to sweep up whatever might be in their way. Big international agencies like the European Space Agency have also started developing ideas to clean up space. But Astroscale is the world's first private company giving it a try because it believes we will become ever more dependent on space.
Someday, people will probably go to Mars or more farther place.
And let's not forget space tourism.
But if you want to go to the farther beyond the Earth, we have to clear that crowded area to minimize the risk.
Our last segment today is making news for making moves. Once they're lined up and lighted up, these mechanical marvels stand up to get down in a synchronized shindig that strove to set a record. It's clear they were all in sync, though of course all they could really do was the robot. Because there were almost 1,070 of them doing that, though, they set a new Guinness World Record for most robots dancing simultaneously. Okay, maybe they were just going through the motions, but once they got in gear, nothing interrupted their regularly scheduled programming, and you could see how well they were all connected to the dance circuit. I'm Carl Azus, and that pulls the plug on CNN 10. We hope you'll step back up tomorrow.